Ladies and gentlemen, today I wanted to do an updated video guide in Marvel Contest of Champions for what I believe to be the best 4-star characters to kind of go all in with and fully max out, take to rank 5, the characters that are going to make a profound difference on your ability to progress through the game and clear content, and talk about kind of the various pros and cons and decisions that you have to make when you're looking at some of the top options in every class to hopefully make it a little bit easier and break some stuff down for people and give you a bit of guidance and direction in terms of, who you'd like to invest your resources in. Because rank ups, I see it comes very easy to some people. Some people have some very obvious options, but simultaneously some people really struggle with, who should I upgrade over who. And I think really the core question you always need to ask yourself you need to lay out your goals in Marvel Contest of Champions. Think about, what is your next move in the game? Are you looking to progress in Act 4 and do that 100%? Are you looking for Act 5 progression? Are you aiming to do an initial clear of Labyrinth of Legends? Do you want to be better in Alliance Quest, better in Alliance War? Are you having a struggle with like a certain matchup? Maybe power control champions are very annoying. So yeah, there are a lot of decisions when it comes to kind of making those rank ups, and hopefully we can, point you in a fairly good direction for each class today. So I've split this spreadsheet into two different kind of sections here. I've listed what I believe to be the top options for all 6 of the classes, and then we have another section for, characters that I think are pretty good options, but in comparison to the top options, fall a little bit short in terms of a lot of areas in the game. But yeah, the top options, as you can see, it's very competitive when it comes to certain classes, especially at the moment, the Mystic, Mutant, and Skill classes. There are just so many amazing characters across all 3 of those classes that you really want to get up to rank 5, ideally if you can. But anyway, we're going to start off by talking about the Science class. So the only 2 options that I have listed as top options is I have Hulk and I have Quake. Like, both of these characters are just absolutely amazing. Hulk has the poison immunity, he's got the stun as special 1. Hulk generally at endgame is played when you're questing and in an Alliance quest, and he's a really fantastic champion for that, and Dormammu slaying. Quake, alternatively, is a bit of a quirky champion, because Quake, if you really want to play Quake, it's all about charging up those heavy attacks and keeping your distance with the enemy and being very good at parrying and evading to not make any physical contact. And as a result of this, she's very good for matchups like where you don't ideally want to make physical contact with the enemy, so she's very good for anything that has like a damage repercussion, like spiked armor, anything like Mephisto, Electros as well, she's very good at dealing with, and also ability accuracy reduction can sometimes in certain scenarios make her very good against magics as well, and juggernauts, but that kind of depends on the Mystic Dispersion as well. I don't think Quake does insanely well when Mystic Dispersion is in play, but she's not too bad. She's not too bad for scenarios in the hands of a very skilled player, but does have a very high skill cap on Quake, I'd say. For the majority of people, I think Hulk is probably the better first Science option, but if you do consider yourself a very above average player, then, I would lean toward taking up Quake as your first rank 5. Then just some of the additional other good options. You've Captain America. World War II is preferred, but the other one is also alright. He's very close to World War II, especially with the change to, fatigue, allowing that to bypass Mordo's Astral Evade. We got characters like Spider-Man, Yellow Jacket, Miles Morales, who are all alright characters to play. They deal some alright damage, but mainly, most of these champions excel on Alliance War defense on really annoying nodes. So yeah, if you just want some annoying defenders, they're not too bad to invest in. Then we move on to the Mystic class, which has really 4 top options that it's always so debatable in terms of like which one should you take up to rank 5 first, and it kind of depends on your like roster, your skill cap, and playstyle. Because I would say Dr. Voodoo and Ghost Rider are significantly more difficult to play than Magic and Scarlet Witch, but I guess there are certain ways that you can play Magic, with stand-up intercepts that make her a little bit more skill-based. But Dr. Voodoo, just to go over, has a little bit of regeneration, very good power control abilities, but Takes a little longer than Magic to kind of get into those. Has a lot of damage potential with his special 1 against enemies that have a lot of buffs. Same with Magic on a special 3. And also has ability accuracy reduction when he's awakened via kind of landing an odd combo. So yeah, Dr. Voodoo in certain matchups, he can be a real MVP character. And then we also have Magic, who is just your power control goddess, really. I think Magic is just the most easy to play and most reliable and fast-paced power drain champion in the game. You just get to the special 2 and you just infinitely spam the special 2. Such great combo with Mystic Dispersion as well, so she's just fantastic for power control. Then we have Ghost Rider, who is mainly your Alliance Quest MVP, but I think now that Blade's been added into the game, I expect to see a little bit more Ghost Rider action in Alliance War as well. So I think if you are a very avid Blade player, then Ghost Rider makes for a very good rank 5 option if you are lucky enough to already have a Blade. And then we also have Scarlet Witch, who's a very strong character in terms of her damage output and does a lot of random stuff. You got the regeneration, power lock, power steal, just huge bonuses to her damage. But Scarlet Witch is very random and relies on being awakened, relies on a high sig level. So for that reason, she's still a top option because she's really good, but I think for a lot of players that are fairly savvy with the combat, like Dr. Voodoo, Magic, and Ghost Rider, I would say are 3 slightly more preferred options for kind of the endgame player base there. And then as we move on to tech, we have really kind of there are top 2 kind of god tier damage dealing options. You have Spider-Man Stark Enhanced and also the Star-Lord, which are just both phenomenal champions when it comes to dealing damage. Like, Spider-Man Stark Enhanced does have the advantage of significantly more utility than Star-Lord with his auto-evade, with his taunt, with his slight ability accuracy reduction and evade prevention on the special 3, and also his power drain potential on the heavy attack, but that's only once every 25 seconds. Whereas Star-Lord, he's just kind of your beefy, immediate damage ramping up champion that's still very good. Like 4-star Star-Lord, I haven't seen like anybody really attempt Labyrinth of Legends initial clear with like a 550 Stark Enhanced Spider-Man, because I think when you're using a 550 champion, you have a very short enrage timer, and you know, with Stark Enhanced Spider-Man, you need to spend a little bit of time at the start of the fight kind of building up those poise charges. So I believe for Labyrinth of Legends, to the best of my knowledge at the moment, that a Star-Lord at rank 5 is better than a Stark Enhanced Spider-Man, and that is your best option in terms of a 4-star character for pushing through Labyrinth. So a strategy might be to, you know, get the Star-Lord up over the Stark Enhanced Spider-Man if you're sitting on both of them, and push through Labyrinth, or if you have, you know, a 5-star rank 4 champion that's a little bit more beefy, then you don't need to worry about that. But I'd say if Labyrinth of Legends is your goal with Star-Lord, then I'd take a Star-Lord up over Stark Enhanced Spider-Man. If you're not really fussed about Labyrinth of Legends with a 550 character, then I'd take Spider-Man Stark Enhanced up over Star-Lord. But then we also have Vision as well in the mix, who is just a fantastic power control champion. The OG version, the classic one, is a little bit better, or maybe a little bit more than a little bit better than the Age of Ultron one, just because of his immediate power gains right at the start of the fight. But once you kind of get settled into the fight, the Vision Age of Ultron is also a phenomenal power drain character with heal block potential as well. So yeah, Vision is just an absolute MVP champion as a 4-star, so he's really good. And some other good options as well. I forgot to cover the other good Mystic ones, but for tech, we have Ultron Dr. Octopus. So Ultron, just for like Alliance Quest double immunities, is pretty good. Dr. Octopus for the heal block and power lock potential, and also not too bad damage. Yondu for the heal block, and maybe Alliance War Defense, and Green Goblin, just as Green Goblin's quite an annoying Alliance War Defender for a lot of people, especially if you place him on a recovery node. So yeah, he can be a bit of a pain in the ass, but also the kind of, backup options in the Mystic, which again, it's going to take you a while before you get to them, are mainly champions that excel on Alliance War Defense and Mystic Dispersion, but all these champions, they have uses when they're playing Dormammu, Great Defender, great power control, double immunities, Hood, you've got great stagger potential, invisibility to evade projectiles, Fate Seal on the special 2, Morningstar, you have, it takes a little bit of ramp up if you want to play Morningstar, but an Awakened Morningstar can be quite an alright defender, defender because it forces your opponent to have some sort of bleed immune solution, or they're going to take quite a bit of bleed damage when making physical contact and hitting Morningstar. But Morningstar can be a little bit of a harder hitting Ghost Rider when she has over 5 souls, which does take a little while to ramp up. Mephisto, massive pain in the ass defender. Then when we move over to Cosmic, we have Hyperion, Medusa, and Angela. And to be honest, when you're looking at the top Cosmic options, like, there's not really a huge amount of utility brought to the table. Like, Hyperion deals an insane amount of damage and is poison immune, has a stun on the special too, a little bit of a regeneration, but that really gimps his damage. But the passive power gain by Hyperion just makes him so amazing for so many different scenarios, and also a very, very annoying defender if you ever need to chuck him on Alliance War defense. Medusa, really, really fun champion to play when she's awakened and has the right synergies, just deals a crap ton of damage, but again, does rely on being awakened and having those synergies. Angela, one of my favorite characters in the game, just because she's a champion that you can pull unawakened, just a fantastic option. Even unawakened, like, she's definitely rank 5 worthy if you don't have Medusa or Hyperion, because the damage output on Angela is just phenomenal. She can be quite a good boss killer for any Alliance quest map, really, just because she doesn't have like any debuffs. It's just kind of raw damage when it comes to Angela, so she doesn't suffer penalties when it comes to stuff like fighting a cable and using a bleed character. So that's a bit of a pro to Angela there, but she's pretty damn cool. Then in terms of the mutant class, I think, well, there are kind of 4 top options, but it's mainly the top 3 that go into consideration. So we have Wolverine, who is just an absolutely insane regeneration beast. I still use my Wolverine to this day in every single round of Alliance quest. He's just absolutely phenomenal. That character's regeneration potential when he's awakened is just insane. So if you are kind of missing that link of consistent insane regeneration in Alliance quest, Wolverine might be your option. But you also have Archangel, who is just the most amazing champion whenever the opponent can both bleed and be poisoned, because he has a very, very strong damage output, one of the highest damage outputs in the game in that scenario, if not the highest, and also a very strong ability accuracy reduction as well, which you can very, very quickly build up to 100% ability accuracy reduction if you get a little bit lucky with the neurotoxins. So that allows Archangel to fairly easily cut through opponents like Juggernauts and Magics, which do run pretty rampant in Alliance War at the moment. He's very, very good as well for fighting Hood, and alright for fighting Scarlet Witch. So yeah, he definitely got his uses when it comes to Alliance War. But Archangel, he has a lot of weak matchups when you can't, you know, bleed or poison the opponent. And then we have Iceman, just a bit of utility. God double immunities, immune to, well, triple immunity actually, immune to bleed, poison, and incinerate. So he's had a little bit of fame in the last couple of months of being the kind of counter to Mephisto for the majority of players. Just Iceman, great all-around champion, can be a very, very good Alliance War defender as well. So yeah, I rate Iceman, man. He's so, so fantastic. And also damage cap on his Ice Armor, which prevents him from taking more than 5% damage from a special free, so he's got that going for him as well. And then finally we have Rogue in the top options, which I really, really like playing Rogue. I think Rogue's just a little bit behind some of these other characters up here, but she's still a really, really great champion, and there are certain scenarios, whenever there's like an attack increase or an attack buff available, that she can really, really benefit in terms of her special one lifesteal, because that scales off attack. So if there's something like a flare node, which increases your attack by an exponential amount, but also has a penalty of you taking damage, like Rogue is just an amazing character for those type of scenarios. So yeah, Rogue is just a real MVP champion, also has reduced debuff duration, so this month as well, she's very well known for being the counter to Ice Phoenix. I think Rogue is a champion that doesn't, you know, initially doesn't really seem like she has much, but the stuff she has just comes in so useful throughout a lot of the endgame content. And then in the skill class, apologies if I haven't covered the other good options. I'm a little bit concerned by how long this video is going, but you can see for yourself. I want to cover the top 2 skill, which are really Blade and Gwenpool. So Blade by far is in my opinion, the best skill champion, and arguably the best champion in the game at the moment for the majority of matchups. The current state of Alliance War is really. Do you have Blade? If yes, congratulations, you've won the video game. You can beat all the Mystic BS Fiesta, and if you don't, then you're going to get a little bit wrecked, or, you know, have to spend a few potions, or play like an absolute god with another champion. So Blade, he's just the counter to so much in this game at the moment, especially when it comes to PvP content. And then we also have Gwenpool, who is, it's amazing to have a 550 Gwenpool, especially if you're going into Labyrinth of Legends and have this character awakened, because she's very, very good for Labyrinth of Legends Electro. Just an amazing counter for kind of that fight if you take it fairly slow with the parries. You know, when I did my Labyrinth of Legends run 100%, I used Gwenpool, and she was just phenomenal for that fight. But yeah, overall, Gwenpool has amazing damage, a ton of utility, and it's just a really, really great character to kind of add to your roster. And then, yeah, let's finish off by talking about, you know, a summary of the other good options in the last 3 columns. Sorry if this is in a little bit of a weird order. So much information just blabbering out today. But yeah, other good cosmic options. There isn't really anybody you want to jump at in terms of the 5 in cosmic. You've got Drax, Thor, Miss Marvel, Cat Marvel, all pretty good damage dealing champions, but nothing insanely special. King Groot, he's a bleed immune champion with a very, very nice regeneration, but as a result of this, his damage is absolute ass. And if you want to play, my kind of feelings on King Groot, because some people really like King Groot, but if you have a Ghost Rider, like, ranked up, there's absolutely no reason to play King Groot. Ghost Rider just absolutely trumps King Groot when you look at both of the characters in comparison. So yeah, King Groot's alright, but he just lives constantly in the shadow of Ghost Rider, in my opinion. And then also we have characters like Wolverine X-23, ton of damage, a little bit of regeneration. Storm, ton of damage and stun. Psylocke, alright damage and some good power control potential. Cable, a little bit of regeneration, ability accuracy reduction, and potential Evader Void with his True Strike. Nightcrawler, just a very annoying Alliance War defender that a lot of people like to place here and there. Then skill, we've got the Crossbones, ability accuracy reduction, Black Widow, and Elektra, also ability accuracy reduction characters. It's a bit of personal preference as to which one you would use out of the 3, but I think once you've got Blade and Gwenpool, a lot of these characters, they tend to stay on the bench for a very, very long time. Then we have Daredevil Classic with a projectile evade, which can be up to 100% when he's at dupe level 99, but I think Daredevil Classic and the utility of that character has really been pushed down a little bit by Starknard's Spider-Man having a, almost a 66 or 70% chance to auto-evade projectile attacks. So Starknard's Spider-Man's one being so reliable, it's kind of left Daredevil a little bit in the shadows there, but he's still, you know, 100% reliable when it comes to evading projectiles, providing he's at dupe level 99. And then we have Thor Ragnarok, champion that, you know, he needs his synergies, he needs to be awakened, but in the scenarios where he has both of those, then yeah, he's going to be a really, really badass character to play, very strong ability accuracy reduction, so he's got a little bit going for him. Then we also have Hawkeye, insane power drain on the special one, and then finally we have Taskmaster, who is the kind of a brand new champion, and he's a bit more of a utility-based version of Captain America. Think of just Captain America World War II, but if he was a lot more complicated to play and also had a very, very strong ability accuracy reduction, and ideally you want him awakened. And just a bit of a mistake here, I've missed out the relies on being awakened and high signature level and synergies with Thor Ragnarok, but I'll correct that once we put this video out. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching the video today. Hopefully you got a bit of an insight into which champions are some of the potential best options to max out as 4-star characters. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You know, these are the characters, is this the list you choose? Do you feel like any characters should be kind of bumped up or toned down in terms of priority? Let me know in the comments section. Apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Take care and have an absolutely fantastic day.